On this episode of Web of Mysteries, we explore the haunting legend of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. Who is this mysterious figure seen wandering along riverbanks under the moonlight? What compels her eternal search? Stay with us as we trace the origins of her story, revealing the transformation of a heartbroken mother into a haunting legend. Episode 3, La Llorona. Our expedition begins in Mexico, the birthplace of the chilling legend of La Llorona, known as the Weeping Woman. This haunting tale, deeply embedded in local folklore, explores themes of sorrow and eternal regret. It recounts the story of Maria, a woman renowned for her extraordinary beauty and tragic fate. Once the beloved of a wealthy nobleman, Maria was ultimately cast aside as he chose another for marriage. Overwhelmed by betrayal and despair, Maria was driven to an unthinkable act. In a fit of anguished madness, she drowned her own children, believing it to be the only way to inflict pain upon her unfaithful lover. When the gravity of her actions dawned on her, consumed by remorse, she ended her life in the same river. However, the afterlife rejected Maria. Cursed for her sins, her spirit was doomed to wander the earth. Transformed into La Llorona, she is now described as a tall, gaunt figure, clad in a tattered white gown that floats around her like mist. Her hair is long, unkempt, and as black as the night. Her eyes, once beautiful, are now hollow and eternally weeping, glowing with a ghostly light that can freeze the blood of those who gaze upon her. It is said that only by finding her children can she be admitted back into the afterlife and find peace. As she wanders the banks of rivers and lakes, those unfortunate enough to encounter her are met with a fate as chilling as her mournful cries. Sightings. The legend of La Llorona continues to manifest in numerous eerie encounters, reported by those who claim to have seen her ghostly form near waterways. These stories add a haunting depth to the myth, each one chillingly unique, yet bound by the common thread of her sorrowful presence. On a fog-shrouded evening along the banks of the Rio Grande, a fisherman experienced an encounter that would haunt him for the rest of his life. As he was setting up his nets under the dim glow of the moon, a soft, mournful weeping broke the silence of the night. It seemed to drift across the water's surface, blending with the gentle lapping of the waves. Dismissing it initially as the wind or a trick of the mind, the sound grew louder and more heart-wrenching. Turning towards the eerie wails, the fisherman spotted a figure shrouded in white in the distance. Her long black hair flowed over her shoulders, merging with the mist that rose from the river. As the figure drew nearer, her features became clearer. Her skin was ghostly pale, and her eyes, red from endless crying, held a sorrowful yet terrifying gaze. Paralyzed by fear, the fisherman watched as the figure, a weeping shadow, passed silently by, her cries echoing into the night, leaving a trail of chilling despair in the air. On a chilly night, a woman walking home along a secluded path near a quiet creek felt the air grow inexplicably cold. The gentle murmur of the creek was suddenly overshadowed by a distinct sound of weeping. The soft, sorrowful sobs seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, wrapping the mist in a cloak of melancholy. With each step, the crying grew more intense, as if drawing her closer to its source. As she hesitantly continued, the mist before her began to swirl and coalesce into a ghostly figure draped in white. The apparition's face was streaked with glowing tears, and its eyes, hollow with despair, fixed on her with a piercing gaze. The woman stood rooted to the spot, her heart pounding as the figure reached out with a ghostly hand, then vanished into thin air, leaving behind the haunting echo of its cries. The woman, shaken to her core, hurried home, the weeping sound echoing in her ears long after the figure had disappeared. In a small village surrounded by dense forests, the legend of La Llorona was well known among the children. They were often cautioned not to stay out too late, for she was said to roam the riverbanks at dusk, mistaking wandering children for her own. On one cold evening, a young boy lingered by the river, captivated by the glimmer of fireflies. As darkness settled, a soft, mournful wailing cut through the still air, a sound both chilling and hypnotic. Drawn to the haunting cries, the boy found himself at the water's edge, where he saw a figure in a flowing white gown, her face obscured by a veil of tears that shimmered in the moonlight. Believing him to be her child, she reached out with ghostly, pale hands. Overcome with fear, the boy sprinted away, the sound of her lament fading into the night behind him. This encounter left him with a deep, unsettling realization. The stories were more than just tales to frighten the mischievous. They were stark warnings, meant to be heeded. Theories. The haunting legend of La Llorona is not just a tale of personal tragedy and ghostly terror. It also invites a range of chilling interpretations and eerie theories. Enthusiasts and scholars explore its implications, each trying to understand why this story of a weeping ghost resonates so strongly across different cultures. One popular theory suggests that La Llorona symbolizes deep fears about maternal failure and the extreme actions that can result from despair. She represents the darker side of motherhood, where overwhelming grief can lead to unthinkable acts. This view paints her story as a grim reminder of the depths of human emotions. Another theory connects La Llorona to historical losses, such as those experienced during the Spanish conquest of the Americas. Here, she is seen as a figure mourning not only her children, but also a lost cultural heritage. Her ceaseless wandering and crying are thought to symbolize the ongoing struggle of indigenous and mestizo communities to reclaim their identity and history after centuries of colonization. In this way, La Llorona becomes a ghostly figure, mourning a past that has been irrevocably changed. Her cries a haunting echo of lost traditions and shattered lives. Legacy. As we conclude our exploration of the La Llorona legend, we find ourselves enveloped in an aura of unresolved mysteries and chilling questions. Despite various interpretations and historical analyses, the spectral figure of La Llorona continues to haunt the peripheries of our understanding. Each sighting rekindles a wave of dread and unanswered questions. Why does she still wander? Could there be a kernel of truth to her ghostly appearances that eludes even the most thorough explanations? No matter how many theories we examine, the encounters with La Llorona leave a trail of icy fear that no logic can fully dispel. Witnesses report not just sightings, but feelings of profound sorrow and terror, experiences that resonate deeply within the human psyche. These personal testimonies add layers of intrigue and horror to the legend, ensuring that La Llorona remains not just a tale from the past, but a living, breathing presence in the nightmares of the present. Perhaps the true terror of La Llorona lies not in her tragic past, but in the haunting possibility that she might still be out there, forever searching, forever crying in the dark. On the next episode of Web of Mysteries, join us as we unravel the eerie tale of the Pocong, Indonesia's hopping ghost bound in its burial shroud. Discover the chilling origins of this restless spirit, why it seeks freedom, and the spine-tingling encounters that have left witnesses in sheer terror. Only on Web of Mysteries.